Hey, college sports fans, a lot of times you'll hear Dabo Sweeney say the fun is in the winning. The fun got started before they even had the lead with a trick play at North Carolina. Big touchdown at Chapel Hill really set the tone for the day for the Tigers offense. Tigers defense eventually found its form as well. Big 38 to 10 win, which is exactly what the Tigers needed. Doesn't cure everything, and we'll get into that, but we really do want to take stock of what made Clemson's day really sing or rap, I guess we should say, after the Ludacris concert there at 9:30 a.m. in Chapel Hill. Lots to talk about today. I'm glad we finally have some fun things to talk about. I am Bill Zimmerman. This is the Reign Supreme All White Podcast, Season 4.
I'm Daniel Shirley. I'm in a good mood so much that I'm not even going to go off on a rant of the first play. Literally cannot be a double pass. They called it a double pass on the broadcast. You know what a double pass is? It's an illegal play. That's a lateral and a pass. You cannot throw two passes on one play. I'm done with that. So, no, it drives me crazy, Bill. Every single time somebody says it's a double pass when you cannot throw two passes on one play. All right. Now,
It's not two forward passes. It's a lateral pass and a forward pass.
you can't throw a lateral pass. By definition, a pass goes forward. You do not want me to do 30 minutes of this podcast on that because I will. Okay. I'm
This
good.
is why you're good at what you do.
I'm done with that. Bill, I was texting, and I think I brought it up last time with the local coach here, who is a Clemson fan, and he and I were texting because you weren't around at the start of the game, so you're not getting the brunt of my texts. But we're
Yeah.
texting the first two drives. Where has this imagination been all year? Where has this precision been all year? And look, precision on the lateral to hit him in stride perfectly, to hit Antonio Williams in stride. Because look, if you throw that ball behind him, or if you throw it too far out in front, he doesn't catch it in time to stop and throw it to TJ Moore.
Right.
The precision route from TJ Moore, the precision throw from Antonio Williams. Perfect. Okay, the second drive. The throw to Bryant Wesco. We've seen that same play this year, the ball be too far to the left or too far to the right. And maybe Bryant has caught it, maybe not. And even if he has caught it, it's so far behind him, he catches it, goes down, or he gets tackled. Well, that one hit him right in the numbers. He's able to break off a long pass, and then they score on the next play to Adam Randall. So the precision the first two drives, and I don't even know if the rest of the first half was even, or even the first quarter was, there was that kind of precision and attention to detail, all that. We've been begging for that all year. Where is it? Now, we'll get into later a little bit about some things that still need to be fixed. I do think we need to at least talk about some positives of this win. I don't think that it's all, rainbows and ponytails after beating that team this badly, because I think North Carolina might be the worst Power Four team in the country, and I'm not exaggerating that. And I'm not talking about Group of Five. I'm talking about, or Group of Six now. I'm talking about Power Four, the Big Four conferences. Who in the Big Four conferences would North Carolina beat? And I don't know that list, you do season four every time, and I'm going to do it too. There might be four teams that North Carolina can beat in the Power Four, and you figure out who they might be. They might all be in the ACC, as bad as the ACC is.
Connect with us on social media. That's at Clemson Kickoff. Whether you're on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, or Facebook, you'll find us there.
But no, I thought Clemson played better. I thought they played focused. I thought, at least for a half, they looked kind of sort of like we thought they would look this year. But I think 38 to 10 says more about North Carolina than it does Clemson. Yeah, like I don't know that Clemson played 35 to 3 well in the first half. I think some of that is on North Carolina too.
Yeah, and I do think that gets into something I thought about. I gathered a few thoughts, took some notes down. It seems to me that the coaching staff prepared for an opponent instead of just saying, "Don't let Clemson beat Clemson." At least on
Right.
the offensive side of the ball, because I think The big plays that they got certainly seemed to go after certain aspects of that Carolina defense. They knew they wanted to stretch it wide. They knew they wanted to stretch it deep, and they kind of seemed to uh, have certain plays in mind they wanted to make. I also think when you talk about that precision, another note I had written down, that precision from Cade Klubnik, it seemed to me that a twofold thing kind of rolled into one. He trusted that he was going to have more time from that offensive line, and he didn't fear zero protection. He also didn't expect perfect protection. He really did seem to be scanning the whole field a little bit better. Maybe not on a Tom Brady level and maybe he's on the brain because Belichick was on the opposing sideline yesterday, but looking across the field a little bit better, does taking stock of his options a little bit better, and again, not freaking out when just one little thing went wrong. And I think that may have led to the more precise passing that we saw. It wasn't every time that TD to Bentoncourt. Boy, Bentoncourt had to really slow down, come back to ball a little bit. He did that thing was probably 6 yards off target of Bentoncourt staying in stride and moving down the field, but got the job done, and perhaps because they were targeting a particular matchup and wanting to take advantage of that. And then uh, I did like Adam Randall again. I think the running game looked pretty good once again. I know it wasn't the big numbers. The passing game had the bigger numbers. The flip side of the ball, we're going to have a few more things to say later in the podcast, but I do think, and I'm really curious to hear your opinion because again, I was watching it on a replay as you alluded to. I do think that Tom Allen on the field seems to have yielded some improvements, and I think it may have kind of brought that energy that I had wondered about. We heard so much in the preseason about Tom Allen bringing more energy to that practice field, bringing maybe more accountability to that practice field. Various reports that you would read from reporters and things you would see on message boards. And sometimes you can sort of suss out which message board posters have a little reliable recollection of what happened, and it translates a little more accurately sometimes than others. I think it didn't hurt to have Tom Allen on the field. I mean, there were 4 or 5 straight 3-and-outs for that defense yesterday, and I'm not saying they were looking like 2016 or 2018 on defense, but very effective.
Very effective. I'm going to go back to, before I talk about Tom Allen real quick, I want to go back to a couple of things about the offense before I forget. They said on the broadcast, and that I can't remember if it was Mark Jones or Roddy, said Dabo Swinney told us during their play, I hope people know this, that the broadcast, they meet with the coaches before the game and they get some insight of, oh, well, this is what we can target. They said very diplomatically that Dabo Swinney said we can affect them with their eyes. And you saw that the second touchdown to Adam Randall where you fake the screen pass and they showed the replay from behind. You've got 3 defenders staring at Cade Klubnik as Adam Randall runs right by them. So that goes to your point about, well, we know we can affect them with their eyes. We need to do those kinds of things. The lateral pass and then touchdown pass to TJ Moore. That's exactly what that is. Because you throw the lateral, the defenders come up thinking it's just a screen pass, and TJ Moore sneaks behind them. So they specifically brought that up during the broadcast. So I would like to see more of that, as you've called for a couple of weeks. The other thing, to your point about Cade, the first touchdown to Adam Randall, that's an outlet, right? Adam Randall's not even a read on that play. It's I'm in the pocket, nothing's open. Oh, there's Adam Randall for an 8-yard pass. Adam Randall makes something happen. He gets a great block downfield, touchdown. Yes, let's see more of that, right? I mean, don't force the ball. And again, we'll talk about the bad stuff later. He did force a couple and got lucky on a couple of non-interceptions. The Tom Allen thing, I didn't even realize it until probably the 3rd drive.
Right.
And I think I texted you because they zoomed in on him on the sideline. They did not bring it up on the broadcast, I don't think. I don't think they even mentioned that he was on the sideline.
Right.
They just happened to.
I think they mentioned it, but I don't think they discussed that it was a change. Not that
they
I
probably didn't realize
on the
it was
rewatch
a change.
anyway. Yeah.
Right. So I just happened to see the camera glanced to the sideline, and boom, there's Tom. I was like, oh wait, he's on the sideline. I do think the defense played better. Bill, they still look like they are thinking too much. They think like they are, analyzing the play as opposed to attacking the play. So does him being on the sidelines help? Let's hope so. And they said after the game, Dabo said, Tom Allen told me, I think I would rather be up in the box, but for this team, I probably need to be down on the field.
Interesting.
Well, to me, that's coaching.
Yes.
Right? Because I want to be up in the box because I feel more comfortable in the box. But if my players need me on the field, then I got to be on the field. That's what coaching is. It's adjusting to whatever your players do best, whatever they need. It's no different than if your quarterback can't throw the ball 20 yards down the field, then you don't throw it 20 yards down the field. You throw it 5 and 10 and 8, So it is absolutely, I think it was a good adjustment. We'll see if it sticks,
Right.
and maybe it changes back. Who knows? But there was clearly, and you can see him jumping around on the sidelines and patting guys on the head and celebrating big plays. Ashton Hampton made a good tackle on a screen. Sammy Brown
Mm-hmm.
broke up a swing pass. I do think there was more activity by the defense and more excitement. Stephon Green had a good sack, but I don't think it's the end all be all fix all,
no.
just having him on the side. I do think there are still a lot of issues that need to be fixed, and maybe it's just not in this roster. I don't know that this roster is as good as, well, I know it's not as good as the championship rosters. Let's just be honest. I don't think it's even as good as maybe some of the rosters the last couple of years. There's some things lacking in the roster, but it's good enough to beat Syracuse. It's good enough to not struggle against Troy. It's good enough to beat Georgia Tech. Probably good enough to beat LSU if you play better. So I do like that Tom Allen was on the field, and we'll see if he sticks with that.
Yeah. And it gets into like, hey, X's and O's. Can you see how the chess pieces are working better from the sideline? No, you can't. But you can have other influences, right? Like you can go straight up to a guy and have that personal face to face. Hey, you're overcommitting. You need to, stay in your zone, stay in
Do
your
your
area of
job.
responsibility,
Yes.
do your
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Then just like you said, flip side, right? Like bring that energy. Don't sit and read and react too much. Like that's a tough needle to thread. Even if I had the physique to do it, I'm not guaranteeing that I would be able to do it. And I certainly do not have the physique to do it. So
No, we do not. There's a reason we did not play college football.
right. But we're not the bar to clear for success in college football,
Right.
like Clemson has seen in recent years. And so, we can certainly see what's going on and analyze it and say, hey, look, some guys are being a little too analytical. It's shades of that Ken Hatfield defense that Ron Dickerson was defensive coordinator for, and Dickerson, a fine coach, did a lot of great work. It just wasn't that fit with that team, right? So, should he have, as you said, adapt what he wants into what that team was capable of until he got more guys in there who really could do what he wanted. Well, that would be ideal, right? And that's something I've talked about with Garrett Riley right now. Hey, can he go ahead and call the plays that Cade Klubnik can properly manage, that he can properly execute, that where he could make the reads and have the right arm strength, or the right instinct even sometimes. So how do you accommodate what your player is capable of, and how do you prop up his strengths and put that on display? We saw strengths on display Saturday against North Carolina, and whether that was a don't let Clemson be Clemson thing, or whether that was preparation for taking advantage of some weaknesses that North Carolina brought to the table, it was very nice to see, very refreshing to see. Heck of a half of football, and A plus, especially for the final score on the scoreboard. It also enabled Christopher Vizina to get in some snaps at quarterback with the ones, throw the ball, not just hand it off, right? And certainly not an immediate answer. Certainly not going to take Cade Klubnik's job going up against Boston College next week. But it's a start on developing that guy and finding out, hey, is this the starter next year for Clemson? Does Clemson need to hit the portal or hope that Tate Reynolds comes in, wins a job as a freshman, or hope that Chris Denson can leapfrog him on the depth chart with his development, or hope that we saw Trent Pearman on the field, hope that he could leapfrog the rest of the group.
Don't start that. Don't start
I'm not
that.
trying to start that
Don't
for
start
sure. I
that.
hope the tone of my voice shows that I think that's the least likely of all the in-house possibilities. Hats off to him. Better football player than me, but again, that's not the bar to clear.
Be sure to subscribe at youtube.com/Clemson Kickoff. It's free. It's the best place to catch all our episodes, and it's the best place for you to comment with your reactions.
So then we get into some of the things that still need to be worked on. I would say, just for segue purposes, we should know Christopher Vizina still needs work. So we'll see how that goes. We would love to see him get more reps, get more chances to prove himself. There were some nice things. I thought he was scanning the field very well. Again, looking for reads, trying to find the right guy. I think when he got down the red zone, he tended to lock in on guys a little differently. And you saw North Carolina DBs getting jumps that they weren't necessarily getting earlier in the game. So there's one potential area for improvement. What I really do want to get into, though, overall, and we'll start with the offense. This is going to sound like a good thing that I'm twisting into a bad. They had those big plays. They did a nice job. Dabo's erasers, as he liked to call them in the Etienne Lawrence era. But you can't count on that. You can't lean on that so much. You're not always going to get 5 or 6 or 7 big strikes like that. Especially that's what we've seen during this recent, really since 2020. Throughout the 20s, we have not seen a lot of those big plays leading to blowout wins. You've got to have a more steady attack, and so there's an area that the team can work on, especially on offense, to be more steady, to get those current churning drives going on a little more successfully, and then hope those big plays develop as well.
Yeah, look, I'm never going to complain about big plays because, Bill, for 3 years, it's been hard for this offense.
Right.
Where everything looks hard. Even, the Bryant Wesco play yesterday didn't look like that yesterday, but the little slant or the little, stop, 8-yard pass on the stop, that's been hard all year. And it hasn't worked. Yesterday it worked, and you saw him turn it into whatever it was, 40, 50 yards down the field. So I'm not going to complain about big plays. I will say, and I don't want to just always keep going back to the Chad Morris years or the Tony Elliott years calling the plays, but remember when it was about getting the offense in a rhythm, and people, you get 8 yards on first down and somebody, this is the time to take a shot, and they would just get a first down.
Right.
And then get another first down and get another first down. And then you take your shot, right? You do want to see a team in a rhythm. Now, if the rhythm turns into big plays, then that's great. That's not my fault that you can't stop us, right? And it turns into a big play. But no, I think you're right about that. I do think there was still, I don't like that the running game didn't do much yesterday. It was solid. They didn't have to run it. Right. They didn't have to get the 5 or 6 yard run, at a certain time because the game got out of hand so quickly. But I think they really, to your point, let's take advantage of this North Carolina defense and let's throw the ball. And I'm good with that. Balance is not, hey, we're going to run it 40 times in this game and throw it 40 times in this game. It is, and we say this a lot on here, it is, when somebody takes one away from us, we can do the other, and we can still move the ball. And this team has not been balanced offensively this year. It hadn't really been anything offensively, really. So, but no, I still think there were a couple of times where Cade forced the ball. The long pass, and you and I disagreed before the podcast started about whether that was an interception in the back of the end zone or not.
Right.
I thought it was, clearly. You think it wasn't. Either way, it's a terrible decision to throw the ball when there's one receiver and 3 defenders. It's never a
Right.
good idea to throw the ball into triple coverage. I don't care if that's Jerry Rice. That's not okay. If you got 3 guys on him, you know what that means? Somebody's open. Now, did they not give him an outlet on that play? Was it a one route play and it was max protect? Again, we'd have to go back and watch the replay. But the other pass to Randall, remember we just talked about, was Randall slipping out of the backfield, dump it off to him. If nobody's guarding him, well, then you get 40, 50 yards that way. So I thought that was a mistake. The other pick, almost pick, dropped pick, whatever you want to call it, I thought was just a bad throw. He had a couple of overthrows where the balls are high, and Cade seems to always throw the ball high. When he's off, it's high.
Not uncommon. A lot of guys.
Right. I still think, Vizina, I thought he was okay. The first drive, I thought he was pretty good. I liked the pass when he rolled out and hit the guy. I can't remember which receiver it was, but he hit him on the, got a little first down. Thought that was good. I don't like the fact of drop back and just throw it up for grabs 30 yards down the field. I never liked that play. Even if it's complete, that's such a low percentage play. And they do it a lot on 3rd and 7. Run some concepts.
Yeah.
Run some crossing patterns. Run something. Just drop back 7 yards and throw it up. That's just a prayer. And it's so low percentage. I hate that. But that's not on him. That's what he's coached to do. The
Presumably.
defense. Right. Well, right. Presumably. The defense, I thought there were still, again, analyzing a step slow, especially the first drive of the second half as well.
Right.
Where North Carolina kept the ball for half of the third quarter, and you want to see, Cade get out there for one more drive and move the ball down the field and score and then get out of the game. That didn't happen. But I thought the defense, North Carolina kind of gave you a gift on the first drive. It's 3rd and 1. You're running the ball right down your throat. Let's throw it. Okay. I mean, Clemson had not stopped them running the ball in that drive. And then I also say, Bill, and I texted this to the coach I was texting with. It looked like Clemson had no idea they were going to just throw quick short passes. Because those 6-yard, 7-yard outs were open the whole game.
Right.
Now, North Carolina also wasn't good enough to take advantage of that. The protection maybe not have been good enough. Somebody's
Max Johnson a little rusty.
Right.
Yeah.
Max Johnson a little rusty. The receivers dropped a couple. So I thought there was a lot of times where a better team scores a touchdown on the first drive as opposed to a field goal.
Yeah.
The better team converts that 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 5 instead of punting. Right. So I think and that's why I go back to, I think 38-10 says more about North Carolina than it does Clemson. As much as I thought Clemson looked pretty dang good in the first half, why was Cade more comfortable? Is it because his offensive line played well, or is it because North Carolina can't get any pressure?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm not studying the all 22, but I know they got blown out by UCF. I know they got blown out by TCU. Every time they've played a Power 4 conference team this year, they've gotten blown off the field.
Yeah.
So, I think some of that is you have to take what we saw yesterday with a grain of salt. I do anyway. Now, some people might look at it and say, hey, everything's fixed. Bill, I don't know. I can't do that. And I can't come in here and BS people to think that I think that. Right. And I want it to be, hey, everything is fixed. Believe me, I've been watching this program since I was 5 years old. I want it to be everything is rainbows and ponytails. But it's not. Yesterday was a good step. But it's not all fixed. And I don't know that you come out of that game thinking, at least I don't. You tell me if you agree that, oh, now this is Clemson. Because they kept saying that during the broadcast. And I'm like, come on, guys. I mean, you know what's on the other side of that field. Let's don't act like Clemson's Clemson again after what we saw yesterday against North Carolina. I think we got to be careful with that.
Yeah, no, announcer speak aside. I think a lot of things happen during games to, you know,
Sure.
especially when it's perceived as a lopsided matchup. I think a lot of things get said to kind of try to level the playing field artificially on air with the audio, shall we say. I do think that what's the phrase I've used? Get up and let up. I think that what bothered me was that we saw some of those bad habits return, especially with Klubnik, but also on the defensive side of the ball as well. You saw the big lead open up, early in the second quarter and midway through second quarter, whatever you call it. And it's like, okay, now we got this. Now we can sort of have fun, and it's back to playground ball a little bit. And not everybody, not every single player on the field. I don't want to indict people who didn't do it, but when you see your supposed Heisman candidate quarterback, at least he was in the preseason. I don't think he is anymore. Once again, horizontal to the ground and trying to throw the ball where he doesn't have a receiver anywhere nearby. That's not great. So again, what put Clemson in that position of that big lead? To me, it was playing within yourself, playing within the system, doing the things you're supposed to do, being properly prepared, and keeping your eyes down the field. He did some nice jobs of avoiding sacks, getting rid of the ball properly early in the game. That's the tape you want to reinforce coming into this game. So we are almost out of time. We must have talked a lot getting ready for this thing. It feels like this has flown by. Maybe it flies by when the fun is in the winning. Maybe that's all it is. Speaking of something that is not fun, I wish I got into this earlier. It just kind of never came up. We had a comment from the son of Joe Bostic. Really appreciate him jumping in our comments here on YouTube saying, hey, during our best of during the preseason, we got it wrong. The Bostic brothers did not play together in Washington. Joe Bostic was with the Cardinals, mostly in St. Louis, and then that first year out in Phoenix. So our apologies to that. We always want to set the record straight. Anytime y'all hear something, you don't have to be the son of a player that we talk about or family member. You hear something and it's wrong, let us know. We'll check it out and definitely set the record straight if we find that. So our apologies for that error to the Bostic family as we replied in the comments as well. So hopefully not a lot of errors against Boston College coming up this weekend for the Clemson Tigers. We will see how that one's going to play out. And then a bigger matchup coming up against SMU after that. So we are out of time on our freebie plan here. So until our next episode, I'm Bill Zimmerman.
I'm Daniel Shirley. Go Tigers.